Have you ever wondered what items are in your basement or how everything works out? I'll show you. This is right here is an electric panel. So, and this one's actually a very pretty one. Most of them are gray or black. They're pretty ugly, but this one's very pretty. So you'll see on them typically what the amperage is at the top. So this one's a 200 amp. Sometimes it's on that switch as well.
So tell us what amp is. What is that?
So amp's just the amount of power it can produce to the home. Most homes are 200 amps. Some smaller homes will be 100. Sometimes in larger homes, there'll be another panel somewhere else in the house, usually the garage or the basement. This one's in the basement. So we're gonna look at some of the different functions of your house. The big piping you see in a home is usually your sewer line. So right here is your sewer line, and this one's actually a septic system. A sewer is public, so it'd be going out to usually the city, and it would be pumped out to a facility. Here it's an on-lot septic system, so it's pumped to your own tank, and then it's filtered out into the yard. There's rough ends in a basement. If you ever see pipes just sticking out of the floor in your basement, and you have usually a newer home, this is where a bathroom could go if you wanted to put a bathroom in. It'll save you thousands of dollars if you have those pipes in, otherwise you have to bust into the concrete. This right here is a sump pit. Typically there's a pump in there, and there's pipes that come out of these holes. They go up and they go out into your yard, so that pumps water out from underground so you don't have flooding in your basement. This is a really important thing to have if you have a high water table or you're in flood risk. So here's the sewer system that goes out into the yard. This right here is a water heater. And you'll see that it's an electric water heater. The reason we know that is there's an electric line coming to it, but also there's not a vent. Typically, if it's a gas one, you'll see a vent goes up and it'll have a fan that'll pump out the gases that are coming out if you have a gas water heater. This right here, when you see a pipe just randomly coming out of the floor, this is a radon pipe. So this is a passive radon. The difference is this has no actual fan that pumps the radon gas out from underneath the ground under your house. And the reason we know it's passive is usually you would see, if it was active, there would be a fan on the outside or inside, and it would have a little gauge here with liquid, and it would show you that it's actually active. There's a fan blowing the air. This right here is your well pressure tank, and we know it's a well because you don't have these in houses that have city water because you don't need a pressure tank. It's pumped pressure into your house from the city water lines. And then this pulls water from underground. You don't have to pay for it. It's actually nice to have a well and septic. The biggest feature of that is you don't have to pay for water or sewer bills, which are actually really nice. And wells, I would say, rarely have issues unless your water table has an issue or your well pump breaks, which can be expensive. Septic systems, on the other hand, do require a little more maintenance. They need pumped out. Depending on your township, it can be every 2 to 5 years. Just depends on which township you live in. And then here's your main water line. Here's your furnace. And this furnace we know is gas because there's a gas line coming into it. This right here is a gas line. We also know it's gas because here's your vent line. So just like the water heater, if you have a gas appliance, there has to be some type of venting that sucks the fumes out of the house so you don't have carbon monoxide build up. These pre-cut lines in your concrete are stress fracture lines. They cut them in because anytime you pour concrete, after a couple months it settles, dries, and with a change in temperature and pressure and ground shifting, you're gonna get cracks. So to avoid having cracks just artificially appear, they pre-cut the concrete so that the stress cracks actually happen under this line so you don't see them. Right here is the toilet. This right here will be your sink. And underground here, if you dig under these rocks, about a few inches down, there'll be another line, and that will be either your shower or your tub line. Look at a house and you're looking at the foundation, it's gonna be either poured concrete, which is what this is, cinder block, which will be your seams where we'll have the mortar in between each block. And then there are homes in the area that also is precast concrete. It's like a preformed concrete that they put in the spot. And there'll be attached foam on that one too. It's actually nice when you see this because you can tell if the house is shifting, there'll be cracks. And in this, you don't see any cracks. That's a good sign for a home because the more cracks you see, the more likelihood of shifting in the house, damage in the house, and also water infiltration usually comes through the cracks. So anytime you're looking at a foundation wall, you want to look for that. You'll also, with the cinder block walls, you'll want to look for shifting, especially when it's being pushed in. So right here is your septic tanks. You can see this on the new construction. There is your solids tanks right here. There's 2 access points to the solids tank. So this is where the poop goes. And then there'll either be a pump or gravity, and it'll go to that other tank over there. That's the liquids tank. So when you have your tanks pumped, they'll typically just do the solids unless you ask them to do the liquids as well. And then beyond the liquids, you'll see there's some pipes sticking up, and then there's that sand mound, that's that hill. That's where the liquid from your sewage system is pumped, and it just soaks into the ground and is filtered through the ground itself. So that's a sewer system or septic system on lot. I wondered what that pipe is that you're mowing around constantly. That is the well right there. You'll see that the white pipe coming up, that's your electric line running into the pump, and then it goes down usually 100 feet or so to the water table. and the pump slides into the bigger pipe all the way underground. So that's your well. That's where the water comes from.